The first thing I need to say is that building a car was never on my bucket list. The only reason I did it was I was working with a guy, and he said that, oh, it'd be great to build a car. I said, yeah, it probably would be. So anyway, he kept on talking about it for a while. And so in the end I said, well, if you build one, I'll build one. So that was all right. We got the plans, or got the book, and started buying some steel. And for some reason he went and bought a fiberglass body of something, one of these 410 racing cars things. I talked him out of that. And I'm not sure who bought it. Somebody bought that car, that fiberglass body, and we kept on with the original Lotus. So then I sort of quickly realised that it wasn't something I'm going to fit into. We only had the build your car with for £250. So I looked around the internet and found the McSorley's plans. So we started, I started building the chassis, and Christopher thought he'll have he put a V8 in this, so we bought a Rover. And I thought, he's pretty serious. So we carried on for a little while. He hadn't done anything else, by the way, just bought vehicles. And we managed to pick up I got a Sierra off my neighbour, it was rusting in his yard, so I picked that up. And Christopher got a Sierra. And I think, this took about a year, by the way. And I think his wife got a bit hacked off with him because he came home one day and a lot of the stuff was sold. So he never bothered continuing. But anyway, I got the Sierra off neighbour, and the only things I used was the uprights, the steering column, and the rear end. All the rest went. So I started building it. I'm talking about this was back in 2007. So I got it to a rolling chassis stage about 2010 when the low volume people took over. And things changed. I'd already built all my suspension arms out of, I thought it was quite good. It was an aerofoil section tube, but it was only like 2 mil wall thickness. But that had to go. It's got to be 2.6 mil apparently. So I had to change those and again get them all crack tested and things like that. So I wasn't about all that. And then I found going through the low volume process, I had to produce drawings. So I'd had a McSorley chassis. Basically, it's the low-cost style front suspension and a Rorty design rear suspension. So I had to try and put all that together to get through the low volume, get the low volume stamp on it. And that took me a couple of years, I got to say, because I had a lot of trouble. I built a rear end from Rorty, and I was talking to someone else who had the Rorty design rear end. All his dimensions were for the Escort body, chassis, sorry. This is a wide chassis. I couldn't figure out why all the stuff I'd built was too narrow. But I sorted that out, and so eventually carried on and through, hip replacements, knee replacements, and shoulder reconstructions and all that sort of stuff. I managed to get it through to the assessment stage just before COVID. So managed to finally get it approved about 18 months ago, so it's now on the road. So it's just I'm using the 20 valve 4AGE with a 5-speed and the Sierra diff and independent suspension.
Is it an open diff?
Sorry?
Is it an open diff?
Open diff.
Yeah, loops like that.
Oh, no, it's just a open one. Yeah, it's not limited stuff. Just out of a Sierra, an 88 Sierra wagon.
Same steering rack?
Oh, the steering rack's Escort. Yeah. The only thing I was been worried about for quite some time is the rear axles, because they're pretty hard to get these days, unless you want to buy new ones, new reproductions in the UK. And when you pull them apart to get at the spines, you've got to actually wreck the can. You've got to cut the can off. And in the old days, they used to sell a new can you could put on. Otherwise, you can't get your rubbers on. So I was a bit worried about this, and I was just spent about 2.5 months down the South Island in a motorhome, and I was in Rangiora and found a Ford, drove past a Ford place, and here he was wrecking an 88 Sierra wagon. So I went in and promptly ripped off the axles and put them in the camper van and brought them home. So that's really the only weak point at the moment. So that's about it. All the rest of it, there's a lot of problems. I had seats. I bought. Oh, by the way, this the nose cone, the scuttle here, and the guards are all from Almac, and I've widened them. Just slice them and widen them back and front. I had to make this fit. I had to quarter it and sort of jiggle it around, rebuild it. And I bought seats as well. And then Ron Robertson made the roll cage, the roll bar, and he was selling some 3-inch harnesses. So I thought, that's the go, I'll have those. But of course, what I didn't know is that if you go to 3-inch harnesses, they're dated. And once a date runs out, you can use them on the road for so long, but after a while, you've got to rip them out and replace them. Got too complicated. Also, I'd bought the ordinary seats, and then found out that the regulation for harnesses has to be a pocket. So they went out and had to get more. So it's little things like that sort of catch you out on the way. If I was building this again, there's a lot of things like Almac did with the rear end. Build a chassis that fits a rear end, a complete rear end. Make it a lot easier. So any questions?
Why orange?
Oh well, I sort of looked through the AliExpress pages because I did check. No, I did check on painting it, and I am a spray painter, but when it came to buying paint, it just got too expensive. By the time you etch, prime it, paint it, and you've got to have somewhere to do it. I can't paint it in my garage under my house nowadays. So I thought I'll wrap it. And I looked at AliExpress and I saw some nice iridescent orange. And I thought, oh, that's a good colour. So I ordered it. And the orange wrap and the black stripes, not on there, but the black stripes I've used, the whole lot was only $300. But when it came, it was that orange. So, I wasn't sending it back.
What distance have you travelled in so far?
Sorry?
How many kilometres?
330.
I was just about to ask if you had any settling in problems.
I still am. I was driving up the gorge the other day and wonder why it sort of slowed down pretty quick, and I struggled into the Newlands off-ramp and found that the rubber pipe between the filter and the hard pipe coming from the tank had a hole in it. It was spewing out. It's amazing how much petrol can get out of a little hole. So I had to go and so I'd use the bit of pipe that I'd got from pick apart with the filter. So that was okay, but then I realised why. It was 30 years old as well. So I went to Repco, and I could only buy a metre. I only needed 150 mil. Had to buy a metre. It was like $85 a metre. And I had some at home, but anyway, got it working again. That's no problem. Yeah, there's other small things that you find you have to carry on. And by the way, I filled it up and I realised I'd poked out half a tank of fuel in that time.
Oh, really?
Luckily, the exhaust wasn't inside.
What about the driving experience, Mike? Is it living up to what you expected?
Oh, pretty much, yeah. Yeah, certainly goes as well as I thought it would. But yeah. I don't know. I've never weighed it, but I reckon probably 600 to 700 kilo with me in it. Yeah, I'd say.
Where does it differ dimensionally? Like it looks, I've always put off by a sevens because of that, quite low scale of height and everything slide. So it looks like it's quite a bit taller and maybe a bit wider.
Yeah, it's called him. The plans were called him McSorley. He's an Aussie guy actually. McSorley 442. So it's 4 inches wider, 4 inches longer, and 2 inches taller. So that's all it is here.
That's pretty close to an all neck.
Sorry.
It feels like it's the same size as an all neck.
It is. I think it is. Yeah. If you, I don't know what the dimensions are of a MX5 wheelbase is, but it'd be pretty much the same. And as I say, that LMAC one is a good example. Just picking up a MX5 rear end and bolting it in saves you a lot of hassle, a huge amount of hassle.
So what did you have to do to adjust the Sierra rear end to fit?
I was just making the arms.
The wishbones.
Well, I made the wishbones
Yeah.
and the uprights,
Yeah.
and it was just the dimension in between them.
Oh, okay, yeah, across the diff. where
Yeah.
the chassis narrows.
Yeah.
Which is in for the mounts of the A-arms.
Yeah, so that was took a bit of working out because I built it.
Yeah.
You know, I didn't bother measuring it first.
And if you get it wrong, so you've got strange camber angles on the
That's right.
back. Yeah.
Yeah. Very strange. But and I had to account for the offset of the wheels too. So I'm 70 mil wider at the back than I am at the front.
That's just a coolness factor.
Yeah, that's right. So yeah, it's but apart from that, I mean, it's been pretty good. The dash you'll see is I bought some iron, some film actually, and I thought I'll do it in film, but then I had some glass cloth, so I just made it up with that. It was easier. But I've got a 40 litre.
Is your engine developing?
Sorry?
What sort of power is your engine developing?
I don't-
Just a standard.
I know it's just a standard 20 valve. Yeah. Yeah.
It'll shift that along fairly well, though.
Yeah, it goes all right. The trouble is, I bought the gearbox and motor on a pallet from a guy in Alexandra back in 2012 or something, and it sat around for years, of course. And I started it up every now and again, but just before, it was just before I was putting it in for assessing. In fact, it wasn't. It was at my first drive out to get it assessed. It wouldn't run, and brought it back home, took the head off, and found I think it was one of the exhaust valves was stuck open. So consequently, I had to recon the head. So it's things like that when they sit around for a long time, these things happen. But yeah, it's certainly taken a long time. What I'll do with it, I don't know. I'll drive it around for a while. As I say, I've got other things to do in the meantime now, so it's good.
You're going to take it up to the track day?
Depends when it falls. I'm not sure what I'll be, whether I can or not. I've always thought about taking it up there, but I didn't have a trailer previously, and yeah, whether I can get up in September, I'm not sure.
Apparently the motor produces 120 kilowatts or 160 horsepower. According to Mr. Google.
Yeah, well, that's good. I don't even know what the diff ratio is, to be honest, so I don't know.
Probably lost a few over the years.
Yeah, it probably has. Yeah.
Those they escape. Those power sources will definitely
I really wanted a black top, but gee, they're pretty much like hen's teeth now. Apparently, all of the Toyota Corollas that went into South Africa were all black tops, but they didn't come here. Or not too many of them. Somebody's importing them. Charge about $5,000 for them. Yeah, there's other things I would have done. I put the brake and clutch cylinders down on the firewall, but it gives a pretty short clutch, I can tell you. So it would have been better off to bring them up like I've seen in other 7s, bring them up the top and give yourself a decent throw. That's the only thing I'd say. But I'm not going to go and retro do it.
And your disc brakes all round, aren't
Yep. Yeah, the back, it's interesting because the Sierra, the axles I've got on Sierra didn't have discs on them. They were only drums. So I've converted those. Well, the hub I've used is for discs anyway. But the Sierras with discs, the German-made Sierras, they had the axles bolted onto the diff. My ones slide into the splined into the diff. And so the bolt-on ones apparently are a lot stronger, but what difference that's going to make, I don't know. It's too light to worry about that, I think. I think my tyres would be skidding around before the disc brakes were worried. But yeah, at the moment it goes all right. Yeah.
Thanks, Mike. Appreciate it. And on completion,
Oh, thank you very much.
you get a
Excellent.
thank you very much.
Fantastic.
Yeah. Very interesting. Yeah. We'll see you first thing. Looks big enough for actually full-size people to fit.
Exactly. All right. Thanks you.